me clearly. America is not a racist country.
This is Eli Crane. He's an Arizona Republican, and he's in the House of Representatives. He recently stood up at the podium and he referred to us as colored people. He was called out and he was rebuked for it. And then he said he misspoke. No, there is no such thing. Let's just get this all out in the air. There is no such thing as no misspoke. Okay? Whenever you are being dishonest, you will always come back with that misspoke. You ain't do none of them things. He spoke exactly what he wanted to say. Okay? He didn't have to give it a second thought. And he knew what he was doing. And it's getting tiring looking at these people do these things and then try to act as if they're lost to what they've done. It's such it not only is an acting, it's acting. It's terrible acting on top of that. It's not even good acting. It's horrible. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video and I'll be right back with the rest of my commentary.
Well, Mr. Chairman, though, that was unbelievably inspiring. My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve, okay? It has nothing to do with color
Mr.
of your skin, any of that stuff. What we want to preserve and maintain is the fact that our military does not become a social experiment. We want the best of the best. We want to have standards that guide who's in what unit, what they do. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, they are not doing this because they want the strongest military possible. I hope my colleagues on the other side can understand what we're doing. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, asking to be recognized to have the words colored people.
For what purposes, gentlelady, seek recognition?
I'd like to be recognized to have the words colored people stricken from the record. I find it offensive and very inappropriate.
Is the gentlelady asking for unanimous consent to take down the words?
I am asking for unanimous consent to take down the words of referring to me or any of my colleagues as colored people.
Now, you heard what he said. He got a problem with Black men and women being in the military, but here's what he's missing. They haven't won one single war in America without us. They couldn't even win their freedom without us. So if there's so much greatness in your military just being fought by one race of people, historically, nothing proves that. Nothing. Nothing. So this is what I think, y'all. Let the white man have his military. And when the next conflict happen, stay out of it. Stay out of it. They don't appreciate our efforts anyway. Stay out of it. Let them handle it. We haven't jumped off one war in this country. We haven't started one war historically in this country. Not one. And the thing is, you had to have a Black regiment during your wars. If you were doing it all by yourself, that would not have been a necessity, but it was. It was. So he may feel that way, but historically, that is not what the record shows. I love when people claim they can do everything by themselves, but when you go look at the history, they haven't done one notable thing by themselves. And that's what it's like here in America. They keep making these claims, but when you go in the history, we don't see nothing that backs up what they're saying. So if he wants his military to look like him, I say let him have it. Let him have it. And when the conflicts jump off, stay out of it. Eli Crane and his people, they got it. They got it. So when he got called out, as you can see, it got heated on the floor, on the House floor, and he got rebuked for saying that. He claimed he used a racially charged term, colored people, on the floor. It drew rebuke from the Democratic lawmakers in the Congressional Black Caucus. And he said, "Oh, I just misspoke." No, he didn't, y'all. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So it was a debate over prohibiting discrimination based on one's color in the armed forces. Mm, mm, mm. Then Crane goes on to say, every one of us is made in the image of God. Actually, every one of us are not. Actually, every one of us are not. Okay. So he goes on and says that. And he said that we are created equal. Well, we have never been treated equal up in this society. Instead of talking to us about everyone is equal, how about if you practice that and put some action behind it? Because we have yet to see it. Just a suggestion. So this is a freshman Republican used the term Thursday evening as members were debating one of the proposed amendment to the annual defense budget and policy bill. His amendment would prohibit the Pentagon from requiring participation in training or support for certain race-based concepts in the hiring, promotion, retention of individuals. Well, here's the problem, Eli. The military is shorthanded, and recruitment has been down in this country for decades now. It's been down for decades. And being that it's been down for decades, that means people that look like you, Eli Crane, are not joining the military. Okay, the folks that look like you, they're not lining up at these recruiting offices. So, it's a lot of lip service from a man when your own people aren't even stepping up to the plate to be in the military. Got a lot of nerve. So he goes on and says Crane was responding to remarks made by Democratic Joyce Beatty when he said, "My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anyone can serve, okay?" You know how condescending that sounds? We know what you are, Crane. We know what you are. It has nothing to do with color of your skin or any of that stuff. Well, apparently it did because you were the one that brought it up at the mic. So that quickly prompted Beatty, who is black and previously served as chairwoman of the Congressional Black Caucus, to ask to strike his words from the congressional record. So that's where you saw her stand up at the end of the video. And Beatty wrote about the exchange on Twitter. And he says, "I am still in utter and disbelief that a Republican uttered the words colored people in reference to African American service members who sacrificed their lives for our freedom." Yeah, they're sacrificing their lives for freedom they never even had. So I will not tolerate such racist and repugnant words in the House chamber or anywhere in the Congress. That's why I asked those words to be stricken from the record, which was done by a unanimous consent. In an interview with CBS, the Ohio Democrat says she doesn't accept Crane's explanation that he misspoke. Now, I don't believe in that crap either. I misspoke. I misspeak. No, you didn't do none of them things. You spoke and you said what was on your mind. If you're going to put it out there, at least stand on it. You look very cowardly when you don't. So she goes on and said, he didn't misspeak, Beatty said. He said clearly what, in my opinion, he intended to. Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, people like uh, Eli Crane is good enough reason for you not to join the military. You know why? Because you would be protecting the likes of him. Some of these people up in here, let's be real, they're not worth protecting at all. They're not worth it. And they're certainly not worth you putting your whole existence on the line for a bunch of people that hate you and wake up every day trying to sabotage and undermine you every day. No, that's not worth protecting. So Eli better be glad that there are people in there, because without us, it's an automatic loss. You would never, never win. Y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.